Hello guys, welcome to Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix in this F1 2014 100% race career mode. As you can see there from the intro, it has been raining all weekend here in Montreal, apart from a dry spell late in Q3, which is where we managed to set our times on a set of option tires. That is the only time we haven't been on wets all weekend. And we end up starting third on the grid behind the two Mercs. Hamilton is on pole and Rosberg is in P2. And we are a little slow getting out of the gate here. Loads of wheel spin on the wet surface here. It appears that Rosberg has taken the lead and loads of space down the inside there. I'm not sure what Hamilton was thinking, but we take full advantage and are into P1 on lap 1 here of the Canadian Grand Prix. And this is going to be a wet one, let me tell you. On the weather forecast there, it said probability of rain on race day 100%. So there, at least you know what you're dealing with, right? Seeing as we've started on the intermediate tires here and the track is already getting quite wet, as you can see we're fishtailing all over the place right here. Difficult corner, especially in the rain. I definitely expect us to come in and make the switch to full wets at some point during the race, as I expect the rain to either pick up or at least the track to become even wetter than this. 100% rain probability probably means it's going to be raining for the entire race, so it'll be interesting to see just how we stack up against the AI here. We are running as sort of middle of the road setup. I believe we are running 6.6 on the wings there. I did not want to go full wing, as we have this huge back straight here where we would be completely at the mercy of the AI had we gone full wing, and I wanted to keep at least some of our straight line speed intact here while not sacrificing too much in the corners either. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here and how we're going to be able to stack up against the AI. Anyway, lap 1 status report, we are in P1, followed by Hamilton in second, and Rosberg is in third. Skipping ahead to lap 4 here, as we go purple by almost 0.8 of a second through sector 2. Hamilton is still following close behind us there, but it appears that we are opening up a bit of a gap down to Rosberg, who's about 3 seconds down on us at this point. I have to say, so far in terms of grip and traction, the car is handling quite beautifully at this point, but then again, these are only intermediate conditions. Usually the problems don't really start until we have to make the change to full wets here. And skipping ahead to lap 7, as you can see, the track conditions have definitely worsened since the start. And I wouldn't be surprised if we have to go and make the change to full wets within the next couple of laps here. So that's when things are going to get really interesting, because as you can see here, we are having trouble shaking Hamilton. He is keeping up with us at this point. Rosberg is a couple of seconds back here, but I would expect the AI to really ramp it up as the conditions get worse here. And at this point, it seems that we have the advantage over the AI in sectors 1 and 2. I'm not sure whether they are running a different setup than we are. Well, most certainly they are running a different setup than we are, but I'm not sure how much downforce they're actually running, because I don't think we're pulling away from them in any dramatic fashions on the long straight there. But in this particular part of the track here on lap 9, this particular corner is where we struggle a lot. It's very, very difficult to get some decent grip here without having, or just getting on the throttle without having the tail step out in any way. Also, you can get caught on the curves and all kinds of stuff that could go wrong right there. And as you can see on the mini track there, Hamilton catches up to us in this part of the track here. From here on out until the finish, we seem to have the advantage here, but the two chicanes there, we really seem to struggle. And jumping ahead here to lap 10, where the time has now come to make the change to full wets, as the rain is coming down heavily at this point. As you can see on the mini track there, there's a lot of cars coming in at the same time we are. And it appears that Hamilton is coming in as well. But how are things going to fare from here on out? This is going to be interesting, because the track conditions are going to be appalling for what I expect to be the rest of the race here. And this is definitely going to be make or break time. This is where we separate the men from the boys. We rejoined the track here in P1 as Hamilton was into pit, and interestingly enough, it appears that Rosberg was into pit as well, meaning he got held up behind Hamilton and lost further time there. He's about 11 seconds down right now. So bad news for Rosberg, good news for us. And it appears that so far the car is staying on the track, which is a positive. And also, at the moment, it appears that we're matching pace with Hamilton, who's about a second and a half down on us right now. But he is closing the gap a little bit, as you can see there on the mini track. In my personal experience, ride height has a lot to do with traction on the wet surface here, because you're not supposed to be running at minimum ride height in rainy conditions in real life. That usually doesn't end well. But in this game, it appears to be an advantage. Anyway, it seems to be working out for me. Skipping ahead here to lap 13, coming up on our hated corner here. There's some back markers in the way as well, and we just get a bad entry to the corner there, and the back end steps out a little bit, and Hamilton takes full advantage of that, dives down the inside of us, and we are into P2. Skipping ahead to lap 15 here, we are only about a second and a half down on Hamilton at this moment, still keeping contact with him here, and we appear to be closing the gap on him and maintaining pace in sectors 1 and 3. However, here in sector 2, in these particular chicanes, we are having trouble. And also, it has to be said, at this time we are currently driving to the limit, and at some point we are probably going to have to sit down and make the assessment on whether or not chasing Hamilton is actually going to be worth it if he's not going to make a mistake, or whether or not we should be playing it safe and just aiming for a podium finish maybe, or just make sure we get some points here in the Drivers' Championship. And this is about as close as we get to Hamilton on each lap here before he starts pulling away again. From here on out until the hairpin down there before the back straight, we are losing time to him, and there's not too much we can do about it seemingly. And on lap 18, it appears that opportunity might present itself as Hamilton is having problems lapping Gutierrez, who's not getting out of the way fast enough. So on the back straight, we crank the fuel into rich mode here, see if we can't catch his slipstream or something and maybe make the move down the inside before the chicane here. And we're gonna have a look here, but we're not gonna be close enough and have to back out of it again. And I'm not really sure where we are going to be able to make a move here, if not on the straight. I think this was probably our best opportunity in a while, but man, was he moving on that straight. We're starting to grasp at straws here, trying the wide line, getting on the throttle sooner, but he just pulls away from us all the same. And jumping ahead here to lap 25, we have backed off, as I was talking about, as things were just getting a little bit too hairy at some point there. And I was getting a little bit afraid that we might make a mistake and lose the car into the barrier, which might cost us the race here. And chances are we are not going to be catching Hamilton either way here. So at this point, we are just trying to drive our own race and put in some pretty decent lap times here. And if we manage to catch up to Hamilton because of that, then that's fine. But at this point, the priority is to keep Rosberg behind us. Skipping right ahead here to lap 30, Hamilton is now pulling out a gap on us and is about 9 seconds up right now. Also, Rosberg seems to have been closing the gap on us a little bit here, as he is about 6 seconds down on us right now. So it appears that the AI cars at this point are starting to ramp it up a little bit. And just as I say that, there's a lot of debris right here in the chicane, and I don't know if you noticed there, but right on the runoff spot there on the left side of the screen, there was a car parked, and that was Hamilton. I'm not sure whether or not he's out of the race yet, as he appears to be in P3 still. But at the same time, we went from 17 to 16 cars running. So unless someone else was involved as well, but I did not see any other cars, unless someone else was involved, I would expect that Hamilton is out of the Canadian Grand Prix. And as Felipe Massa moves into P3 here, it appears that Hamilton is indeed out of the race. And that means after winning the opening 4 races of the season, Hamilton has had to retire or has crashed out in the last 3. So as good as he was in the opening part of the season, he is completely snake-bitten right now. And I'm not sure if you can make this out, but here on lap 47, it appears that the rain is starting to subside a little bit. The track is still very wet, but it appears that the skies are clearing, and we may even see a dry spell at some point. And also, it appears that Rosberg has all but closed the gap on us and is only a second down right now. So with all the trouble we had with Hamilton in the opening 15 laps or so, it appears that we're going to be going through the same thing with Rosberg very soon. Coming out here on the back straight, we crank the fuel into rich mode, looking for some straight line speed, pulling out of the racing line, not to give Rosberg too much of a tow. But if you look at the mini track there, you can see he's not losing much time at all. And I'm starting to wonder whether he and Hamilton have been on different setups, because Hamilton was not this quick on the back straight. Almost losing the back end coming out of the chicane there, and Rosberg is right on our exhaust right now. Jumping ahead here to lap 48, coming out on the straight one more time, you can see Rosberg is right on our rear wing there. And this time we stick to the racing line, mostly trying to block him. So he's going to have trouble making a move, or so we think. He just moves down the inside of us there, superior speed and power it appears. And we try and return the favor coming into the chicane there, but we have to back out of it completely, basically skipping the entire chicane, losing speed, and Rosberg is all but gone. Jumping ahead to lap 57 here, not much to talk about other than the fact that Rosberg seems to be driving on a different planet right now. He's opened up a 20-second gap to us in just 8 laps here. And there's no doubt right now that our focus is going to be to stick to or hang on to P2 here. And that should be possible, as Massa is about 30 seconds down on us at the moment here. And even though we take it a little easy here, the next couple of laps, we should be able to keep him at bay without too much trouble, as he hasn't been lapping as fast as the Mercs have this entire race. Jumping ahead here to lap 61, we are starting to lose time to Massa here. Maybe not at an alarming rate, but at the very least a steep and stable rate. And the reason for this is that these wet tires are really starting to wear out. And I would really like to go in and change them, but my engineer has been talking about the weather clearing up in about 5 minutes or so. Meaning if we go in and change now, we're going to be changing to a new set of wets. And as the rain probably is going to stop before the race is over, there's a good chance that we're going to be going in for a set of intermediates as well. So we're just going to have to bear with these completely dead wet tires and hang on until we can go and change for some intermediates, which we are going to be doing at the end of this lap here. Lots of debris right there in the turn. Somebody's lost a wing, it would seem. And here on lap 66, we come in for our set of intermediates here that we are going to be finishing the race on. And a lot of other cars coming in as well. So the question is right now, is Massa going in to make the change to intermediates as well? or is he going to stay out on his wet tires and pass us going into P2? If you look to your right there, coming out here on the main straight, it appears that Massa is just going to come into view and disappear again, as we are going to be rejoining the track right in front of him. And jumping to lap 68, our intermediate tires here are really starting to pay off, as we are putting Massa down by about 1.5 seconds per lap right now. So he has stayed out on his wet tires, as has Rosberg. So right now, we are definitely the fastest car in the race. However, I think Rosberg is way too far ahead of us at this point. He's going to have an accident or a mechanical failure if we are going to have any hopes of finishing first here in Montreal. However, like I said, we are pulling out a gap on Massa, and that is very good news. Also, I have to say, I found it refreshing to see that Massa actually went for the gamble and did not go in and change his tires immediately there, but rather tried to stay out on his wets and see if he couldn't pass us while we were in the pits. I was half expecting all of the AI cars to just bunch up and create a huge line and everybody went to change tires at the same time, but not so. Neither Massa has been in to change his tires, and Rosberg is also still driving on his wets. And on lap 70 here, Nico Rosberg finally has some good luck and takes his first win of the season. Coincidentally, probably in the worst conditions so far yet in this season 2. And as you can see there, Massa's about 14 seconds down on us, meaning he still hasn't been into pit. Obviously, this means all we have to do at this point is just nurse the car home and take second position here in Montreal, bank some points for the championship, and just look ahead towards the next race. So coming up here on the finishing straight, we finish in P2, and given the conditions, I have to say I am very happy about the points here in Canada. So Nico Rosberg takes the win here in Montreal. We are in second. Felipe Massa is in third. Kvyat is fourth. Jenson Button scores again for the Constructors' Championship there, as he finishes in fifth position. And just look at all the retirements there. Bianchi, Bottas, Ericsson, Hamilton, Gutierrez, Vettel, Sutil, Jean-Éric Vergne, Sergio Perez. That's about half the pack there. So definitely a lot of carnage here at Montreal given the conditions. And looking in the Drivers' Championship, we are now 31 points up on Lewis Hamilton, who has not finished in the last 3 races here. Also, Felipe Massa is into third now, overtaking Daniel Ricciardo, who has not been able to follow up on his good start and is starting to drop back. And also, we are starting to make a dent here in the Constructors' Championship, sort of threatening the Mercedes crew right now. At any rate, guys, if you enjoyed this, please don't forget to leave a like or subscribe to this channel even, and I'll be back soon enough. Bye-bye.